Today I'm excited to talk about one I've been hearing so much about, Hard Truth, Sweet Mash, Rye. Let's get into it. All right, welcome back to Brutally Honest Bourbon. If you guys are returning, I appreciate you guys tuning in every time. If you're new to the channel, I appreciate that as well. Really appreciate your likes and your shares and the comments in the comments section. Today we're going to be reviewing Hard Truth Sweet Mash Rye. I've been hearing a lot about this whiskey. It's all over social media. People are talking about it. I've asked some people in my group. They say they've not had a bad one from them yet. I've not tried it. So today we're going to get to try it for the first time, and I'm really excited about that. So before we get started, I just wanted to take a moment and thank all the patrons that make this show possible. Without you guys, this thing couldn't happen. So thank you. I really appreciate that, and I hope that we can continue putting out content that you guys enjoy. So let's talk a little bit about this one. Hard Truth Sweet Mash Rye. I'm seeing it all over TikTok, YouTube. People are reviewing it and saying a lot about it. I didn't know anything about them, so I was anxious to get a bottle, and I found one in my travels through Louisiana last week. And I'm really anxious to see if I'm going to like it as much as everybody else. So a little bit about the company. So they're a tiny distillery. They grew quickly. It started back in 2015 in a small upper room of Big Wood Pizza Company in Nashville, Indiana. The tiny craft distillery grew quickly, and by 2017 construction had begun on the new facility set on a rolling wooded 325-acre property about a mile away from Hard Truth's original home. The property became the gorgeous Hard Truth campus, and the Hard Truth Tours and Tasting Center being the first building to open its doors to guests by the very end of 2017. Over the past few years, the team has continued to develop a property that surrounds the Hard Truth distillery and new tours and activity and festivals, and major expansion at Hard Truth on the Rocks. A terraced outdoor area with a stage for live music, food truck, and a bar operates seasonally. So this is a batched whiskey. It had 30 barrels in the batch. It's out of Rickhouse number 1. It's batch 3. It was dumped on February 16th of 2022, so a day shy of my wife's birthday. That's pretty cool. It's 115 proof, mashed, distilled, and aged in charred American oak barrels, Brown County, Indiana. It says that it is barrel strength, uncut, and unfiltered. So when you say uncut, you're talking cask strength. That makes me really happy. Full proof is something that I enjoy as well. So that's something that's proofed down to the proof that it was when it went in the barrel. So if it goes in the barrel at 125, comes out at 132, they proof it back down to the 125. This one being 115 sits right in that sweet spot for me. The fact that it's cask strength and uncut means a lot. The unfiltered means a lot to me as well. So when we talk unfiltered, you know, a lot of them will do chill filtered to get the clarity in the juice. And this one looks really clear as it is, even though it hasn't been filtered. But when they do that chill filtering, a lot of your oils and such will be skimmed off the top, and that's what helps give it that clarity. So I prefer to have the oil in there and have that mouthfeel that we get from it. But, you know, without a further ado, I think we just pour this one and get right into it. Nice little cork pop. All right, let's see what all the hype's about. It's got a really nice color on it. You can see that color. It's really nice. It doesn't look super oily or viscous, so I'm not sure what to think about that. It has a really nice nose on it. Now, I've been away for a couple weeks. This is the first time I've shot, and I haven't had a lot to sip in the past couple weeks, so I'm not picking up a ton of ethanol, which is good. Fresh crack. I'm getting a lot of like dark fruit, light brown sugars. I'm not getting a lot of barrel impact. It's a lighter nose, so it doesn't flood you with aroma, but it has a nice aroma to it. So I'd say sweeter, fruit. I'm anxious to get into it. Let's see how it does. Cheers. Okay. So the palate matches the nose. I was saying it was a little bit lighter on the nose, but it did have some aroma, and the aroma was nice. It is pretty ethanol forward. The hug is really prominent. The flavors were nice, but they didn't stay with me very long. It's definitely spicy. A lot of bacon spice. You got that rye spice to it. The flavor that it has is good, but it doesn't stay around as long as I would like for it to. I like for a flavor to, for you have a nice long finish. I'm not getting that. It has a little bit of a sour finish. It's definitely not a bad whiskey. The flavor is definitely not bad, but there is something mid to end that's a little sour. It's not even a bad sour flavor, but it's sour. And the flavors are just really light. I'm anxious to see how this one opens up. I think we're gonna come back to that one, probably give it a month or so. We'll come back to it and see how it is, because I think this is gonna be one of those bottles that just opens up really nice. I was really expecting a lot more. I was hoping for a lot more. Not bad. It is not bad. There is not a thing wrong with it. The flavors that I'm getting are darker fruit. It's gonna be a sour fruit. Just a touch of light brown sugar. A lot of hug in the chest, and a lot of bacon spice and rye on the tongue. So if you like a spicier whiskey, this is gonna be one for you. That's gonna be your one. If you like a spicier type whiskey. And I'll tell you all day long, I like rye whiskey. I do. The Jack Daniel's single barrel proof ryes are some of my favorite. The Michter's barrel strength ryes are some of my favorite. I love Hemingway. Angel's Envy rye is what started it all for me. That's where it's not where I got into whiskey, but it's where I really got into the differences of whiskey. So before that, it was all Jim Beam Apple or Jack Daniel's No. 7. A lot of old fashions and that kind of thing. Bourbon and Coke, that was my thing previously. But Angel's Envy is what started it all for me when it came to wanting to know more and learn more and realizing that there was so much more to whiskey. I didn't understand what rye whiskey was. I didn't understand the difference between bourbon and whiskey. I just really used it to get me from point A to point B. But the Angel's Envy really opened my eyes, and with it being a rye, me coming in, I wasn't afraid to try rye, because I know a lot of my friends are like, oh man, so-and-so said, rye just burned him up or hit him right in the mouth, and no, I don't want to try rye. I don't like rye. And as you guys know, there are so many different ryes out there, and then high rye bourbons, and different levels of rye within a bourbon. I do prefer the rye bourbons over the wheaters. There are some wheats that I like. I ended up trading off all my Wellers because Weller just was not something for me. It's not bad. I've had a full proof that opened up really nice, and it was a really good pour. Just not one that I'm going to go to. I do lean more towards the rye, thanks to Angel's Envy. On the third sip, fourth sip, wherever we are, it's getting better, right? My palate's warming up to it. The finish is not quite as sour. That's absolutely going to be a bottle that opens up. That's going to be like the Penelopes were for me. That's going to be something that I'm going to come back to. If we're going to rank it on the nose, I'm going to be like 3.4 because it has a nice nose. It is pleasant, but I'm having to dig for what I'm getting out of it. I just really can't call it. It is a little bit proofy for the nose right this second. I think when I said I wasn't digging real deep, but the deeper I get in the glass, the more. But I'm definitely getting that light brown sugar and some dark fruit, very little oak. On the palate, give it a 3.5. 3.5 on the palate. And on the finish, maybe 3.5, 3.7. No, 3.5. 3.5. I'm gonna go across the board on this one. It's 3.5. It's one that I'd suggest this one only if you could try it first. You need to know it's for you before you buy it, in my opinion. Now, if this one's on your bar at home, you went out, you buy it tomorrow, and you put it on the bar, you're gonna drink it. But I have way more that I prefer over that, so I'm not gonna run to it. Let's give this thing a month. So it's January 5th, 2025. Happy New Year, by the way. Let's give it a month. Let's come back to it mid-February, so see where we are. I'll do another review on it then. Let this thing open up a little bit, get it drank down some. Definitely want to try more from Hard Truth. Like I said, I've been seeing so much of it. This is their mash bill number 1. So let's try some of their other variations and see. Definitely nothing negative about it. It's not one that I would not buy, but with all the good whiskeys that I do have, or all the other whiskeys I want to try, it's not one I'm going to chase. And that may change. That recently changed for me on K-Loot. I had somebody send me a bunch of samples of K-Loot, and that's the only way I'd ever tried it. I don't know if I poured them and sipped them too quick. I feel like when you do a little sample bottle like that, sometimes the ethanol builds up and you get concentrated and they can be a little warmer. You need to give them a little extra time to breathe maybe. So maybe that was it. Maybe the sample bottles weren't super clean. Maybe my palate just wasn't in the same place. But I met Jonathan Masano the other night, and he tasted me four of his bottles. Traditional bourbon, Cabernet finish. And guys, I liked every one of them. So that just goes to show you, because I don't like this tonight, doesn't mean that I may not come back to you in February and say, guys, that's the one. So we'll see if that turns out to be it for Hard Truth. But as of right now, 3.5 beards, not something I would chase. If it's on the bar somewhere, I'm absolutely paying for a pour of that. It's a $10, $12 pour all day long. So if you see it, buddy's got it, try it. But I definitely would suggest trying it before you buy it. And that's just my brutal, honest take on it. So we try to keep it that way for you guys. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. It's all Brutally Honest Bourbon. Shoot me an email, brutallyhonestbourbon@gmail.com. And let me know how I'm doing. Hopefully I can make some improvements and keep getting better here for you guys. But tonight, that's just one that I'm a little let down on. I was really excited to try that. And it's not bad. Not by any means. It's a really good whiskey. It's got a really good quality ingredient in it. You can tell that. And they put a lot of pride into that bottle. But for me, maybe it's just lacking that depth, that complexity. And, age-wise, that's something that we're looking at there. Maybe we need a little extra age on this Indiana juice. But that's it. That's your hard truth, brutally honest opinion on what I think. So until next time, you guys let the whiskey and friendships flow. Cheers.